Hello, Barbara. Sorry to interrupt your team meeting, everyone, but Barbara, we just wanted to deliver a special award for you. You are the BBC Women's Footballer of the Year 2024! Congratulations!
There you go, mate.
Welcome back to Football Connect Top Corner. In this episode, Barbra Banda is crowned Queen of the Females Game by the BBC. A depth of quality in the first presidential race. Kennedy Musonda is our king here in Zambia, but does his influence extend to the NBC Premier League in Tanzania? To discuss all this is my colleague Sam.
Barbra Banda continues doing amazing things, and I'm so happy in this episode we're going to talk about what she's managed to achieve in her career. I think she's been an amazing player. She's an out of this world player, and the numbers she keeps on putting, she keeps on crushing, records. She's a record breaker. So this time, to add on top of what she's already achieved, I mean, she won the biggest award so far in her entire league. BBC named her as the world
the best female
the best female player in the world, not just in Africa but the entire globe. We know that the past Ballon d'Or she finished 12th. I personally felt she should have been in the top 5 bracket, not even going away out of as far as 12. I thought when you talk about her, she's in the conversation of the best top 5 players you have in the world.
Maybe top 3.
Top 3, yeah,
or top 1.
Like what BBC did. Yeah. And then when you look at her, I think she's been very critical with her new team in the United States. I think her switch from China to the USA was just the right move for her.
It gave her the right exposure.
Yeah.
Most of us knew how good she is.
Yeah.
But now, because of she's in the
USA, the world is going to know about her.
She's going to notice, and it's probably the best league, women's league right now. Yeah. And she's the best player there, MVP.
Oh yeah.
She was named MVP there. She scored she scored crucial goals, a great number of goals. She scored the winner in the NWSL final. So great all round. And speaking of awards, she's also up for the the FIFA Best Awards. She's up for the ultimate prize, the best female player in the world. She's also up for, along with Kunda Nanji, in the best 11. You can vote for that. We'll put the links in the description of this pod. And she's up for I think the one that most Zambians want, the African Women's Footballer of the Year. It's been dominated by sister Oshoala of Nigeria, yeah. And I think she is going to get that, definitely.
I mean, if not Barbra Banda, who else deserves that league? When you look at the award itself, she's been amazing. That should be added to it. Yeah. In as much as we saw some controversy arise after her being crowned the BBC Footballer of the Year, and I think we shouldn't be having a conversation about the bad side about that. For me personally, I'm not. There's no question in talking about Barbra Banda not deserving to win that award because of her perceived gender. But I don't know. What's your take about that?
For me, I think it's a conversation that is happening not because of what Barbra Banda has done as a female footballer.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about her per se. It's about ignorance. It's about racism and cultural wars in the West. You see it a lot of times. Africans you see comments sometimes from Africans, from South Africans. If it's not their player, they'll comment, "Oh, she looks like a man." Yeah. Oh, she like when we put up who's the best female player in this year, we put up I think Tabitha, Katlanga, and Barbara. And there was certain people where the females, and they think it's funny, but it's not funny.
No,
it's not a funny thing. It's not. Today it's Barbara. Tomorrow it's Temwa. The other guy, it was the Algerian boxer Imam. So it has nothing to do with Barbra Banda. It's ignorance. People like J.K. Rowling, who are renowned, do not care about protecting the women, the integrity of the women's sport. If they did, they would have checked.
Yeah,
they would have checked. The BBC have the BBC Times. Don't worry. If forget the headlines, if you read their articles, they will show you that the facts, and these are the facts that people like J.K. Rowling and everyone making noise about this have not done. And they have not done the bare minimum to check the facts, to investigate this issue, because it isn't about the truth. It isn't about protecting the integrity of women's sport. It's about the fact that it's someone who doesn't look like them that is winning and beating. Remember, only 60 years ago, Africans were not allowed to compete. Africans, black people, were not allowed to compete in these events. In America, then the NBA 60 plus years ago, they wouldn't compete until the Harlem Globetrotters showed them that actually black people were better at basketball than quote unquote Caucasians, the special race. So it's not about, people might think it's about integrity. It's not about that.
No.
For me, it's not about that.
Okay.
It's racism, it's ignorance, it's cultural wars, which we as African are not even interested in.
I think it's for me. I wouldn't even want to dive into this conversation for a long time, because I'm proud of Barbra Banda.
We are definitely.
See, I think for some of us that have followed her, she's been close to us. You could see her rise up from the under-17s all the way.
She was with the Airtel Rising Stars. The catalogue of videos, her as a young girl and all that. So we know. And like I said, if these people cared about the truth, which J.K. Rowling and her friends and all these funny looking old white women who can't run or have a physique or talent cared about the integrity of the sport, they would have checked and they would have found out the truth.
Yeah. I think to wrap up this issue, it's really a pity when you hear certain people or a certain section of the world utter such words on a person we genuinely know to say deserves what she deserves right now.
She's worked hard for it.
She's broken every single sweat for that.
Yeah,
to get it, you know.
She's played everywhere.
Anyway, moving on. I think we've talked about this. We've
exhausted. For them, it's a tool for another political agenda that Africans are not interested in.
Yeah.
We are not interested in your gender wars. Away from Barbra Banda for now. We saw news-making rounds. As we know, next year there'll be first presidential election.
Yeah, that's a hot one.
And I feel like we were treated to a headline, a piece. This one.
People are doing all sorts of things in the background, trying to bar others, and we are aware what they are doing. They want to say, no, 3 years, how can you be an administrator at Football House and also be registered with the club? And how can you bar somebody who is running football at the highest level in the country because he doesn't affiliate with the club? He just needs to have a club to back him up. That ends. It doesn't make sense. And at that note, we are not going to leave this thing unturned. If it means Zambia not having football, we will do that, because we are not going to allow an individual dictate what it is. And you can't be...
That's very careless, especially that he wants to run football. So I mean, which football is he even going to run if football is stopped in Zambia?
I think it says, as you know, I do not have a horse in the race.
Yeah.
I think it speaks volumes of the kind of candidate he is.
Yeah.
Is it really about Zambian football and improving Zambian football? If what you are saying is, if I don't stand, then there will be no Zambian football.
No. Yeah.
Who are you?
That's the thing. So
Are you fighting for the betterment of the Zambian football, or do you just want the sport, the post? There will be no football if I don't stand. What if you actually do not qualify to stand? Then you stop the game because you don't qualify to stand. I don't think that's correct. I think he has had a lot of traction recently, and I think he has supporters in the right places, and I think he's managed to do well to get a lot of attention to his candidacy, and that's a plus for him. Well, he did wear Manchester City jersey to a local game, but to the point, he's done very well in that regard. He's getting the traction that he deserves, but I do not think if I was a councillor, I'm voting for him on the basis of that interview. I think it's a disastrous interview.
Yeah.
Like, it was strong words. I would go further and say wrong words, if we may. So, like I said, I do not know if we have any options improving the Zambian.
Oh well, maybe to play the devil's advocate. Maybe he could. Don't you think he could have meant, if he doesn't assent to that position, him being as one of the contenders? Because I think he strongly come out and put his foot down that he's going to, contest for that position.
Okay.
So meaning, do you think he meant he's got a vision? Probably he has a vision and he wants to change football. And if his vision is not adopted,
He didn't mean that, Sam. He didn't mean that.
No,
He said if I'm not allowed to stand, there will be no Zambian football, which means he will disrupt Zambian football. You remember he was with Andrew Kamanga.
yeah,
And I think, is it the 2013 season? 2013-2014 season. There's a season that was disrupted because certain people did not get what they wanted.
oh yeah,
Yes, the football stopped. The league was paused. The league title was decided in the boardroom. I think Changa Rangers were when Karusha Wale was president.
Oh,
so, how far are you willing to go just to get what you want? So, is this the kind of person we want to run the game? It's a person who would stop at nothing just so he's president. Nah, I don't see any options. So we saw on our last sport, we were talking about Kennedy Musonda and how well he had done for Zambia, and then fast forward, he scored
on Saturday.
No, I'm talking about Zambia. He had done well for Zambia.
Oh yeah, he scored 4 goals in the last 5 games.
Yeah. In Patson Daka's absence, he did tremendously. But fast forward, he goes back to Yanga, and in the Champions League, they are losing 2-0 at home to Al Hilal of Sudan, and he's not on the pitch. What's going on there?
Well, I think Kennedy Musonda's performance in his league has been totally the opposite of what
he has recently done for Zambia.
With Zambia. Yeah.
You don't feel it's maybe a miscommunication between the coach, or maybe it doesn't just fit into the system at Yanga?
Yeah, because I think he partially did well when he just moved from Power
Dynamos
when he went to Yanga, and you could see he was kind of the reliable forward that they would use. Now, fast forward into this season, he's barely started 5 games, and so far they've played 11 games in the
and
league.
he hasn't started.
And he's started only 3 games.
3 out of 11.
Out of 11, yeah.
Oh.
So I think that says a lot, and not until recently on Saturday, that's when he got his first goal in the league.
That was his first goal in the league.
Oh, sorry, no, his second goal rather. That was his second goal in the league.
So 2 goals in 11 matches.
In 11 matches.
How did he do last season though?
Last season was quite exceptional. He should have been more than 7 goals.
8 goals.
In 8 is more than 7.
Pedantic.
Yes, but I know the fact that he moved during the mid of the season and he managed to get those numbers. I think that was very good. We saw the goals he got against TP Mazembe last season in the CAF games. That was brilliant, but it's not the same this time around, because recently as well we also had rumors. I mean, Wami Katanga reported that there's some interest from Congo,
from TP
Mazembe, yes.
Who recently released who's this gentleman? Ngonga. just a few months ago, yes. Ngonga is with Zesco now.
Yeah, Ngonga is with Zesco now. I think Kennedy Musonda hasn't really hit the heights he hit last season, and we'll see how things go. There's a possibility of him moving. There's rumors on the street that he might be moving to TP Mazembe. But for me, he's a good player. He's a good finisher.
I think most importantly, I think we've seen the difference in how playing regularly and being trusted by a coach can help a player and the national team especially with Kings Kangwa. I think he's been playing well. He's been playing consistently, and it has shown at the national team. So we remember Patson Daga was struggling for time or playing time at Leicester City, but he would always turn up for Zambia. But eventually, at the AFCON, we saw maybe that lack of sharpness, that lack of regular playing time catching up with him. So I think if Kennedy Musonda is going to continue to help the Zambian national soccer team, maybe he might want to move if things are not working out at Yanga, and TP Mazembe is not at all a bad move for me.
Yeah, it wouldn't. No, I mean, he'll still continue playing in the CAF competition. That's still good.
Yeah, he's a good player, and if he has the confidence and the regular game time, he might. Because the other thing is that the Africa Cup of Nations is a year away from now.
Yeah.
So a lot can change.
Yeah, that's true.
And if the situation does not improve at Yanga, he might not find himself in the national team.
Yeah.
So we'll be keeping an eye on that one. But still in the NBC Premier League, another player from Power Dynamos,
Bodo.
What's happening there?
Joshua. I think Joshua Mtale has also
struggled for
game time with Simba, but I think for me there's an exception for him. He just moved there, and this is the first time he's actually playing in a club outside Zambia. So
same thing for Kennedy.
Well, I think Joshua is younger than Kennedy Musonda, but he still has time. Yeah, for me, I'm not so worried with him.
And it's just the beginning of the season. Yeah, a lot can change in football.
Yeah. So and he has the talent to actually make it.
Yeah, he has the absolute.
At Simba,
he's a brilliant little player.
Yeah,
he's amazing. He's wonderful to watch. I hope he gets back to his form.
But looking at the two leagues, one thing that has really amazed me is how much, like, there's a huge gap now when you talk of the Tanzanian league and you're comparing it to the Premier League, Zambian Premier League, Super League rather. I think the gap is just immense. Tanzania recently made it to AFCON, and in their last game against...
They've made it to AFCON.
Yeah. Okay, I'm talking about this specific one now. I mean, in the last game they played against Guinea, can you imagine? They only had 2 players playing outside the Tanzanian league. All their 9 players they either play for Simba, Yanga, or Azam. And when you look at the quality of football they're playing, that's way better.
They did come here and beat Zambia.
I mean, yeah,
World Cup qualifiers.
exactly. That proves my point.
Yeah, so I think the Zambia, the NBC Premier League, the NBC Premier League is what the MTN Super League was in 2016.
Yeah, that's
when we
true.
had Zesco, Zanaco, Nkana, all these teams.
Lusaka Dynamos playing good football.
Yeah, but going there and playing good football, reaching quarterfinals and all that.
Not just participating.
No, not just participating.
Like
first round you're out, like our teams are doing now. But they've improved, and I think it's been partly because of the Tanzanian economy has been doing fantastic.
Yeah,
it's now 3 times the size of our economy, GDP wise, and many other things have been going right there. So there's been investment in their league. I think when the last signed, they signed a 25 million kwacha, that is deal with NBC for the sponsorship of the league per season.
Per season, not a specific
no
for
per
a number
season.
of years, but per season.
Yeah, per season. So those are the amounts involved. In comparison, the Zambia MTN's last deal was for 43 million kwacha for 3 years. So around 14 million kwacha per season.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the gap is almost is twice the amount per season.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the amount of money that is in the league and these teams. That's why when Kennedy Musonda sees the contract, Budo sees the contract, they disappear from training at Power Dynamos.
It's a pity to mention this, but the Zambian Super League is simply like
a feeder
to to the NBC
and
other African
DRC,
leagues,
South Africa. So
we don't have the monies to keep these guys.
I think there is a lot of mismanagement as well in the league. Well, the economy has tanked for some time, but so I think it's impressive for the South African league and the NBC league. They've managed to send their countries to AFCON with homegrown talent, players that are playing at the highest level in Africa and at home, and I think that's something to appreciate about these 2 leagues. So we'll be playing them.
Yeah, I just thought we should mention that,
No, it's quite impressive.
It's quite impressive. I know we might dig deep and mention a whole lot of things that are, might bring in the foreign quota, but generally, I think it's very good to appreciate. Let's see what these guys are doing from Tanzania. Let's see what these guys have been doing from South Africa and the Arabs, and try and see if it works out here.
Okay.
Yeah.